Well, we've completed game week 11 in the Premier League, and there was some really interesting matches, some ding-dongs. Arsenal remain top of the Premier League by 4 points. Man City second, Chelsea third. My mob doing I don't want to say surprisingly well, probably about par, but lots of interesting stories and results. And Liverpool, man, they are Donald Ducked, mate. They are currently, where are they? They're 8th in the Premier League, behind the likes of Man United, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Sunderland in 4th, Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal. I want to react to some of the results. Do want to speak about Liverpool getting slapped by Man City, Isak remaining on the bench, and Florian Wirtz getting hooked. I'll speak about that game a little bit more broadly, but I want to go through other results as well. Welcome back to the channel, Football Yannick. Yeah, this is my football YouTube channel where when I get the vibe, the feeling, I reflect on big stories. And of course, we're in an international break now. It's raining in the kingdom. I'm looking outside the window now. It's a cozy day to talk about football. So yeah, welcome back. If you do want to join the fun, you're welcome to subscribe. One day I'll get to 20,000 subscribers. So if you do like my commentary on football, then consider subscribing. Right, so Tottenham Man United, 2-2. Probably an even deserved result in the end. It was 2 goals in stoppage time. So it was an early goal from Burmo from Man United. It looked like Man United were going to get sort of... It just looked... Tottenham at home have looked toothless in the Premier League. Of course, they did against Chelsea as well. They did have that amazing Champions League result. But still, they've been pretty toothless. And then late on, out of nowhere, really, Matisse Tell in the 84th minute equalises to make it 1-0. And he's like, you know, finally the crowd wakes up at Tottenham and he's like, come on, like we're at home, let's go and win this. And Richarlison scores what everyone thought was the winner in the 91st minute, you know, breaks down in tears, gets emotional. He's quite an emotional guy, I think. He's had some tough periods. And it looks like Tottenham have done it. They've pulled it out the fire, they've won. But then in the 96th minute, 5 minutes later, Matthijs de Ligt equalises 2-2, probably an even result on the day. I watched the game, it was pretty interesting. But again, you know, Man United, 5 games undefeated, it was 3 wins and 2 draws. Not the worst draws in the world, away at Tottenham. I know the Forest one, they'll be frustrated, but the way it went, like, you know, Forest deserved credit in that game. Sean Dyche, the way they sort of came back. So Man United in broadly good form still. Everton got 2-0 win over Fulham. So Fulham have gone back to being bad again, seemingly. I didn't watch the game, I must admit. They saw off Vitor Pereira at Wolves, Fulham, but they are... Yeah, they're in trouble. Where are they in the league? They've got to be near the bottom. They're 15th, so they're 1 point clear or the relegation zone. You think they'll do it, but they do need to sort themselves out. West Ham getting a 3-2 win over Burnley. I must say I didn't see this game either. There was a 97th minute goal from Burnley as well, so that was more like a sort of bonus goal, really. It looks like a pretty comprehensive home win, ultimately, in terms of they were comfortable. There was an opening goal from Fleming, and then there was 3 goals without reply from West Ham in the 97th minute. You know, goal from Burnley. Sunderland Arsenal. Now this is one of the big talking points of the weekend, because this is the game that gave non-Arsenal fans hope, because Arsenal hadn't conceded a goal in 10 games. And in those 10 games, they were just simply not conceding chances. I think I've chatted about it on here recently on this channel, about how that's the mark of champions, you just can't score against them. But they go away into the Stadium of Light to Sunderland, and Sunderland jump on them and really stick it up them, and they don't like it, Arsenal. And they ended up getting a Ballard scores the 36th minute. I think it was man of the match as well, because he scored the opener and he made an amazing defensive clearance late on to secure the point. But then, yeah, so that was the first half. It was Sunderland's half. And then Arsenal come out and they're show a bit of, you know, that they've got sand essentially coming out. And they're like, we're not going to take this. We're getting rattled by the atmosphere. And they come back. Saka scores. Trossard scores. 54th, 74th. So there's a 20-minute period. And they go ahead and it looks like they're going to win. But in the 94th minute of stoppage time, Brobby scores what is an equaliser. So, from not conceding 2 in 10 games in a row, Arsenal, they concede 2 to promoted Sunderland. But to call them promoted Sunderland sounds like I'm slagging them off. But actually, if anything, it just makes what they're doing even more impressive. They go into the 3rd international break of the season in the top 4. Remember, it's probably top 5 for Champions League. I will put the farm on them not qualifying for the Champions League. I'll say that now, but you'd have to say that, I mean, they're already halfway to the points they need to stay up, and they're quarter away through the season. They are having an amazing season. You know, Xhaka in midfield looks like an excellent signing. So, you know, congratulations to them. Obviously, they beat my mob at Stamford Bridge, so they're having a wonderful time. Chelsea did win against Wolves 3-0. A great game for Garnacho, but of course I covered that extensively on Football Therapy, my main flagship YouTube channel. Forest did get a 3-1 win against Leeds. Leeds, who did score the opener away at the City ground, but then 3 goals without reply from Forest sees them get all 3 points, which they'll be pleased about, and that of the leaves where I'm not in Forest. Ooh, where are they? I can't see them. They're doing really well or badly. Why can't I find them on the table? Oh, they're 19th. That's pretty bad. But they have got 9 points. Wolves, of course, have got 2. And Burnley, who aren't in the relegation zone, in 17th, only a point ahead. So it shows you that I think it's pretty wild, actually. If I was to call who was going to go down now, I would say Wolves. I think everyone bets. I reckon Wolves, Leeds, and Burnley, probably. I think West Ham and Forest, they won't go down, but the Wolves will be like the established the side that goes down, I think, if I was to guess now. Alright, so where are we? Crystal Palace, the Brighton, the non-derby that everyone thinks is always a tasty game, was a 0-0. So yeah, I didn't watch it. Nothing to talk about really. Got a Munoz clean sheet on Fantasy Premier League, but I had an absolute horror show. Loads of people did this game week. Villa slapping up Bournemouth 4-0 at home is no mean feat. That is really impressive. Unai Emery's side back on form. I know they lost to Liverpool, seemingly not good Liverpool. More on that in a moment. I know they won in the Champions League, 1-0 against Real Madrid, but Real Madrid are off the boil. But 4-0 against Andoni Iraola's Bournemouth is really good, man. I'm just looking now. Saying that, they had 52. The possession was pretty much split down the middle, and they both created about the same amount of big expected goals and the same big chances, and 16 shots to 12. So actually, statistically, possession was the same, XG was basically the same, big chances was the same, and the Villa just edged it for shots, but they won 4-0, which will obviously dictate. They just had much better finishing on the day. Right, I mean, again, I didn't watch the game. I did watch the goals, I think, a match of the day, but, you know, they're flying again, Aston Villa. I mean, they started, it was like, oh, they're in crisis. How are they going to sort themselves out? Morgan Rogers is out of form. Everything's bad. Until it's not. So I tell you what, though, Newcastle United. You know, I was thinking like the big games we're going to talk about is Arsenal dropping points against Sunderland, and obviously, but the thing, Man United and Spurs is like probably 2-2 is kind of something you'd expect. Liverpool's a big story, we'll get to that. But Newcastle again losing in the Premier League, 3-1 to Brentford. A Brentford side that me included thought was going to get relegated because they lost their goalkeeper, their captain, their top goal scorer, their striker, their manager. I was just like, yep, they're cooked. And they're doing really, really well, man. That, you know, to beat Newcastle, I think, where are Newcastle? Newcastle are 14th, but again, it's all so tight. Do you know what I mean? They're 14th, but they got 12 points, so they're 6 points off Champions League qualification currently. So it's all massively up in the air. But they got a red card as well. I'm just going to check. Who was sent off? Dan Burn. What are you up to? He's all over the gaff at the moment. He's scoring like, amazing curled headers, getting sent off. All action. So yeah, superb work from Brentford. Really, really concerning from Newcastle in terms of the Premier League. And I thought, you know, I'm about to get on to Isak, but I thought Nick Voltemade coming in looked really good, looked really appropriate. They made so much money from Isak, a record sale. and he obviously didn't want to be there. Voltemada's younger, and maybe it was all going to work out, but this league form's horrendous. So let's talk about Man City 3, Liverpool 0. Goals from Erling Haaland. He missed a penalty, but of course he scored. Nico Gonzalez and Jeremy Doku, who's having a lovely time at the moment at left wing. I tell you what, I'll name another left winger that's having a lovely time at the moment, and his name's Luis Diaz, playing for Bayern Munich, a winger that Liverpool sold. I know they got 70 million euros for him. What's that, like 60 million quid? Which is like good money, really. But I tell you what, they're playing Cody Gakpo and Florian Wirtz on the left wing at the moment, and Diaz is looking like an absolute world beater. How old is he? 27, 28? And he's like, you know, they love signing up like Salah and Van Dijk in their mid-30s on 400k a week. But Diaz is the one that they should have kept, because he looks absolute. That goal he scored, many of you would have seen on the weekend, where he runs to like the byline, somehow keeps it in by sliding on the floor, spinning round, and then like lashing it in like you know, when people score from a corner. Insane. And he's scoring loads of goals and having a great time. But yeah, Liverpool. I'm looking at their sofa score. I don't know if you can see. It's all red. Salah 5.9 rating on SofaScore, and not that is stinkers across the pitch. Ekitike started, Wirtz on the left wing. So they started the midfield three that won them in the Premier League last season. Essentially, it's McAllister and Gravenberch with Szoboszlai as like the 10. You know, this sort of functional midfield. And then, you know, in the absence of a free-scoring, superb Luis Diaz, they've just farmed Wirtz out on the left wing. Like, oh my God, what do we do? What do we do? I don't know what to do. In terms of, you know, Man City, Gonzalez in the midfield, flanked by Bernardo Silva and Foden, which actually seems pretty, apart from Gonzalez, quite lightweight, and they dominated. Cherki playing right wing didn't really work. Doku left, Haaland top. Looking like Pep has gone full vengeance mode. I don't know, man. Statistics. Let's have a look then. Man City, this is why it's a different time. Because Man City had 49% possession at home. Pep Guardiola's side. That's what I mean. We are through the looking glass now. We are, you know, not a footballing goalkeeper in goal, a big lump up top. And just, you know, we've gone from total football tiki-taka to this Route 1 Guardiola. He did, despite having less of the ball, they were 1.51 XG to Liverpool's 0.61. So it's just way better finishing from Man City. And Liverpool, man, let's have a look at this. Did he even come on? No. Alexander Isak, the Premier League record signing, on the bench, Liverpool's number 9, 125 million pounds or whatever he is. Chiesa came on instead of him. Cody Gakpo came on instead of him. Curtis Jones. And then and bearing in mind they're losing by multiple goals. They bring on Joe Gomez and Milos Kerkez. I mean, Kerkez you could say fullback for fullback, but in the 83rd minute, yeah, you're thinking, oh, Chiesa's coming on for Wirtz. Well, wide forward. But, you know, why are you bringing on Joe Gomez? If I was Isak, I'd be like, what have I done? You know, what have I done? He should not have gone to Liverpool, yeah? I know, look, he was sort of flirting with them for ages. He made a comment about staying in the Premier League and how he wanted to play for a team that had, you know, big a reputation or, you know, had a big history in Europe. And at the time, Arsenal fans thought they could sign him, and that immediately ruled them out, which was pretty funny because they have no presence in Europe, Arsenal. He's basically saying, Liverpool, come and get me. So he wanted the move for a long time. He should have stayed at Newcastle for one more season, not completely tarnished his legacy there, you know, playing in the Champions League, winning a trophy for them, scoring the winning goal in the final to win a trophy. He kind of ripped that up, really, which is such a shame. And, you know, Newcastle are a big storied club with a great fan base. It was just needless. He could have said, look, because he told them apparently he wants to leave, but he was only 25. He's only 25, and he'll have so many suitors. He could have just said, look, okay, I will stay for one more season for you to sort your act out, sort your sugar out, yeah? I'll hang out, score some goals, we'll see how well we can do again. you know, Liverpool just signed Hugo Ekitike for 70 million quid anyway, so, you know, whatever. And who's, by the way, legitimately benching Isak at the moment. I'll hang out with you, and then I'll get my agent on the blower and just see, and this is what he should, I mean, if he wanted to, see if he can get me to Barcelona. Yeah, because there is I know Rashford's playing a bit there, and, you know, they have different players playing down the middle. But Barcelona won't be able to, you know, sign Erling Haaland. They won't be able to get that Classico Haaland versus Mbappe. That's what everyone kind of wants, the new, you know, Ronaldo, Messi. But Isak would have been perfect to succeed Robert Lewandowski at Barcelona, and he could have gone to Barcelona. I think he speaks Spanish. Did he play for Real Sociedad? He should have tried to, I mean, whether they could have afforded him, I doubt it, because Barcelona, and it would have still probably been, actually, whether it would have been a record transfer fee, or record sale fee, I don't know. I don't think, because, you know, of course the record sale before of that would have been Caicedo, because that was coming from the Prem to Chelsea. So maybe because they wouldn't have been selling to a rival, they would have been like, oh, instead of being £125 million, it might have been £100 million, go to Barcelona. Do you know what I mean? That's what he should have done, but it is tragic what's happening there, and very funny. Anyway, that's my reaction to the game week 11 going into the international break. I'll probably cover England games and stuff here on the channel, so make sure you subscribe to this channel, Football Yannick, and turn the bell on, and thank you for supporting the content, for liking and subscribing and all that stuff. Yeah, man, and I hope to see you back here soon. Take care. Peace.